You're listening to Upcycling with Deb. I'm your host, Deb Colameta. You can reach me on Instagram and Facebook at Deb Colameta. You can also go to my website, thedebsite.com. I'm recording this episode at the tail end of a vacation week for my kids. School vacation is a very interesting dynamic in our house. I always feel like we try to plan a few activities, but something always comes up, and we always try to leave a lot of extra buffer room in our vacation schedule. The first day of the vacation, we try to do a little bucket list, and I make sure that the kids give me a couple of ideas of what they'd like to accomplish, and I write it down on a list in a place where they can see it. And we can add to the list if there's time through the week, but I like to keep it almost like a punch list for them to look at and to see not only what they can look forward to, but also what we've done. So at the end of the vacation, they don't feel like, oh, we didn't really do anything this vacation besides hang out. We do a lot of hanging out. We do a lot of just free play and chilling out and trying to just enjoy the different pace. If we're not going anywhere, if we're not going on a trip, it's a great time for the kids to recharge, for me to recharge. I get a break from packing lunches and that frantic pace in the morning. And that is something that is really important to me to instill in the kids, to make sure that they see the value in just being with each other, just chilling out. It's okay to be bored. It's when sometimes creative ideas might strike. I do like to focus on having a staycation, in addition to being able to save a little money with not going on a trip. But that said, if we go on a trip, we would have a budget for eating out 2 to 3 times a day and doing activities. And when we're on vacation, we don't really even think twice about what we're spending or, if we want to do a special extra add-on activity while we're away, we do it. And I like to think that even if we do a couple of things per vacation, staycation week, and we spend a little extra money, that's money well spent because Ray and I are still getting out of it way ahead of it financially with our budget. It's just a great time to kind of get a break from being in a germy environment, whether it's school or the after-school activities. Just give the kids' immune system a little break. You're either going to be staying home on staycation because somebody's picked up a bug or they're not feeling well, or because you're resting and you're trying to avoid that. But either way, take control back and agree to have a couple of staycations and see how you can enjoy them. You can do a few day trips, and there's very little packing required. You don't have to worry about what the weather forecast is going to be, and you can enjoy each other. Another benefit of the staycation is that your kids can revisit their toys, their items, things that they've forgotten about, things that we kind of push to the side and don't really use a lot. By having the time to be at home, you're kind of forcing them to look at their play area and play space in a different way. What crafts have they wanted to be getting into that we don't usually have time between sports and extracurricular activities and doing homework and bedtime and all that? Do they want to watch a movie? Do they want to bake something? Do they want to play with a Lego set that they got for a previous holiday or birthday and still haven't had time to put together? It really forces them to look at their space and try to take advantage of what they have already got. I think that's an important life lesson for the kids. It's important that they can be occupied and entertained and occupy and entertain themselves, that they can be satisfied with what they've got. We're always reaching and grabbing for the next thing. And sometimes it's good to just be present and experience gratitude for what we have and just learn how to spend time with each other without being so busy. The other day, we were on our way to a local ropes course. It's like a mini zip line, and there were a lot of kids there for school vacation. We had gotten there right when it opened, and there was still a line. In the car ride over, which was only a few minutes, I had asked them more about their vacation, staycation bucket list. And I said, thinking about our most recent vacation, what was your favorite part about that? And one child answered, just being together. And the other child answered, eating dinner and every meal together. That gives you a sense of, it doesn't take much. It doesn't take much to impress your kids. It doesn't take much to try to be silly with them and make them laugh. Sometimes they'll just be surprised that you're trying to get down on their level and have a few laughs with them and just be silly. Having those spontaneous dance parties, listening to upbeat music in the house, trying a new recipe, all of those things, using the ingredients you might even surprise yourself that are sitting in your cabinet in your kitchen, and baking something together. It's an experience that might take a couple of hours between start to finish and cleanup, but it's time off the screen, it's time together, it's educational, and it's a great thing to do on your staycation. My son found a few amazing recipes online. He had said he wanted to try to make them himself. And I thought, well, it's a snow day. We're not really doing much else. Why not? So we got out all the ingredients. We had just about everything he needed. And he took charge. He made it in his way and followed the instructions and, of the viral recipe that he'd wanted to try. And we got to spend time together. And he also made it so that we had these amazing cookies in the house to enjoy. There are so many benefits to trying to do something like a staycation activity like baking, which can be very difficult and time consuming for me. But when you have the time, because you've not overscheduled yourself, it can be a really magical experience. So I highly recommend you try that for your staycation. Make the bucket list with the kids. Show them as you tick off the items. Do some baking. Do some free play. Let them make one of the meals at least. Let them bake something that they want to try. And just spend time together and take advantage of that found time that you have with each other. It's really what the kids want most. Thanks for listening to this episode of Upcycling with Deb. I'm your host, Deb Colameta. Visit me on my website, thedebsite.com, and get your free downloadable guide.